Hey guys, and welcome back to the Indie Spotlight here on the Franz Productions YouTube channel. If you're new to this series, this is where I take a look at independent films to help shine a spotlight on some amazing indie movies. Today we're going to be talking about the short drama After. After was written by Timothy J. Cox and directed by Thomas Angeletti. This 17-minute long character piece tackles the moral implications of where justice ends and revenge begins. Timothy J. Cox plays a veteran police detective whose son was recently killed in the line of duty, and over the course of this piece, he struggles with the idea of throwing out the rule book, determining that real justice would be to kill the murderer. On the other side, though, is his daughter, played by Beth Metcalf. Over the course of the movie, the two go back and forth over the moral implications of taking justice into your own hands versus following the rules and following the laws set place. And as they each give their pieces on the matter, the lines between right and wrong become ever more blurred. That's all that I'll say about the plot to avoid spoilers, as I really think that it benefits you to watch After for yourself. So if you're interested, make sure that you check it out. Instead, I want to focus the rest of the video on what filmmaking aspects you can learn from as you head into making your own movies. Last week, I talked about the brilliance of Hard Truths and how the actors wrote the script for themselves to play. Well, once again, Timothy J. Cox penned the script for himself to play the role of the detective, and once again, he shines as both a writer and an actor throughout the course of this film. Throughout the movie, as Timothy's character drinks himself more and more into a stoop, the lines between right and wrong become ever more grayed. After all, he just lost his son, so it's only natural that he would want to get revenge and murder the killer. The emotional range that Timothy pulls off really makes it easy for us to go into his shoes and understand what he's feeling. Yet on the other side of the coin is his daughter, and her points stand valid too. Thinking less emotionally and more logically and reasonably, she argues that, first of all, the evidence that you have against the lead suspect is flimsy, and what if he's not the killer? What if, you're just leaving another innocent man dead? But let's suppose for a moment that the guy that they, have on camera that they suspect is the killer. Well, let's say that, Timothy Cox, let's say that his character does end up killing this guy. Doesn't that make him a murderer too? Doesn't that make him just as bad? It's not going to bring his son back, her brother. It's not going to bring him back. And so, you got to see her side too and where she stands. And I think it's brilliant how, the movie lets both characters really give their points, and you can really sympathize and understand each side of the argument. In some ways, I was reminded of that episode of Daredevil when he and the Punisher are having a similar moral argument up on the rooftop. However, in After, it's a lot more grounded in reality, from the perspective of law enforcement. And I think along with Timothy and Beth's acting, as well as with Timothy's writing, it really does give a nuanced side to this moral dilemma of right versus wrong, vengeance versus justice. Apart from the writing and acting, I want to talk about some of the practicalities of After for the production. This deep emotional drama is really limited when you think about it in terms of how many people were involved and location-wise. We're in one single location, which is a home environment, and we have two actors. But once again, After is another case in point of sometimes in filmmaking, less is more. I really think that grounding everything in the short with one location and two actors helps to create a more focused piece that really drives home the narrative implications of the thematic values of right versus wrong. And it really does give us time to feel more isolated with these characters who just lost a loved one and hear them out in their arguments without being distracted by other unnecessary details. I also want to talk about the mise-en-scène within After. I think that something that gets overlooked a lot, especially in independent film, is the importance of what we see in the frame, when we're watching a movie. What do we see on screen? And I think that there's two specific props that really serve as symbols for a lot of the emotional themes that are being conveyed throughout the movie. The gun, which represents the anger and rage, that Timothy J. Cox's character feels, and the whiskey that represents the sorrow and the depression of losing a loved one. And I really think there's a shot in particular that really demonstrates the narrative implications of both of these objects. and we see both of the objects in focus with the characters in the background blurred, out of focus. I think it's really important, as filmmakers, that we take into perspective not only the significance and the importance of, the people that we see in the movie, but also on the objects, the props, the set design. What else do we see other than the actors? So I think giving the shot, some time to shine of showing these two very symbolic objects, being the gun and the whiskey, I think that was a very, very smart idea for the direction of the film. So I recommend After to any and all independent filmmakers, as this really is a great example of how you can tell an emotionally deep, character-driven narrative with very few resources. So as always, I'm going to link down into the description where you're able to watch it. It is streaming right now on Shortverse, so go ahead and check that out. But anyway, that's all that I have for you here today. Remember, if you like this content and you want to see even more videos on indie filmmaking, then go ahead, drop a like, subscribe, turn that bell on for notifications so you don't miss any more videos here on Franz Productions. And if you yourself are an independent filmmaker and you want me to talk about your movie here on the Indie Spotlight series, all you need to do, go down into the comments, tell me what's the name of your movie, where is it streaming on so I can watch it, and then I'll add that to a future video for the Indie Spotlight series. And then one other side note, if you're interested in keeping up to date with my movie that I'm currently working on, In the Hands of Fate, we are currently running an Indiegogo campaign, raising money, raising some funds to help support the production. And we're starting shooting this coming Sunday. So if you want to help out, go down. I'm linking the Indiegogo to the description of this video. Any help would be great, even if you can't contribute, but you can share. Maybe there's people that you know that might be interested to contribute and help support indie film in Ohio. And stay tuned, because as we continue making this movie, I want to share exclusive behind the scenes content, specifically any educational videos that we can share detailing our experiences making the movie and what you can learn from some of our successes, and possibly some things that might not have gone right on set that we can learn from as well together, grow together as an independent filmmaking community here on Franz Productions. Anyway, guys, until next time, that's a wrap.